ChatGPT-proofing school assignments, your news update, and meme stocks, the next generation, on this edition of Arbitrage News Weekend, starting right now. Hello and welcome to Arbitrage News Weekend for August 12th, 2023. I'm Joshua Stark. Practically overnight, ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence chatbots have become the go-to source for cheating in college. Now educators are rethinking how they'll teach courses this fall, from Writing 101 to computer science. Educators say they want to embrace the technology's potential to teach and learn in new ways, but when it comes to assessing students, they see a need to ChatGPT-proof test questions and assignments. For some instructors, that means a return to paper exams. After years of digital-only tests, some professors will be requiring students to show editing history and drafts to prove their thought process. Other instructors are less concerned. Some students have found ways to cheat, they say, and it's just the latest option. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried returned to New York City for a court hearing Friday that could decide whether the fallen cryptocurrency whiz must go to jail while he awaits trial. Prosecutors have asked a judge to revoke Bankman-Fried's bail, saying he tried to harass a key witness in his fraud case. His lawyers insist he shouldn't be jailed for trying to protect his reputation against a barrage of unfavorable news stories. The 31-year-old has been under house arrest at his parents' home in Palo Alto, California, since his December extradition from the Bahamas on charges that he defrauded investors in his businesses and illegally diverted millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency from customers using his FTX exchange. Bankman-Fried's $250 million bail package severely restricts his internet and phone usage. Like a scene out of a horror movie, Michelle Lesprin returned to her Tucson, Arizona home to find a snake had set up camp in her toilet. I'd been gone for 4 days and I was looking forward to using my own restroom in peace. I lifted up the lid and he or she was curled up, Lesprin told the Associated Press. Thank God the lid was closed. The hysterical encounter happened July 15th, but Lesprin has been getting messages from family, friends, and even people she went to high school with since Rattlesnake Solutions, a Phoenix-based company that removed the snake, recently posted an employee's video. The 20-second video shows the snake being pulled out of the toilet bowl and then hissing straight at the camera. No thank you. Russia is scheduled to launch its first mission to the moon in nearly 50 years on Friday, pitting it in a space race with India, which is also aiming to land a lunar craft this month. The launch of the Lunar 25 craft to the moon will be Russia's first since 1976, when it was part of the Soviet Union, and will be conducted without assistance from the European Space Agency, which ended cooperation with Russia after its invasion of Ukraine. The Russian lunar lander is expected to reach the moon on August 23rd, about the same day as an Indian craft which was launched on July 14th. Both countries' modules are headed for the lunar South Pole, an area where no spacecraft has landed smoothly. Only 3 governments have managed successful moon landings: the Soviet Union, the United States, and China. More after this on Arbitrage News.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This week's Arbitrage blog includes Zoom returning to work, DeSantis gets dissed, and meme stocks, the next generation. All this and more in this week's Arbitrage blog, available now at arbitragetrade.com. Now let's go to the president and CEO of Arbitrage, Mr. Royce Wells, for more. Royce, Zoom was very useful and still is very useful to a lot of companies that had problems during the pandemic.
Yes.
Now they're kind of going, hey, we don't have any employees in-house. Y'all come on back in.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Don't understand it a lot, though, because honestly, it's cheaper to have the people abroad than at work. You're not having to pay for a building or resources or light and power, all the things that go with holding or keeping the business running. That majorly cuts into expenses. Let them stay home.
Well, it's not. Zoom's not the only company that's having this issue or this push. Google, Amazon, FedEx, they've all been basically trying to get their employees back under the umbrella. Even Andy Jassy with Amazon at that one point, we had talked about how he sees that, having people within the office umbrella is better for collaboration and so on and so forth. And we also did the article on how being offsite is affecting corporate real estate even. So
I could see that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the seminal company that helped us through the pandemic with, collaboration to go through this same situation where they're trying to get an in-office versus in-home type of culture. It's very interesting to see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I know, like, having worked for AutoZone previously, one of the major things downtown is on Mondays, AutoZoners wear red and the managers wear gray. So you see a sea of red going to lunch. So basically, I could see how it impacts culture and possibly for people who are just starting there, if they've never experienced that, they definitely will be missing out. So
it's an interesting culture, definitely. And our blog article also has a lot about video conferencing in itself. Did you know that the story of modern video conferencing started way back in 1927 with Bell Labs?
Oh, wow. I thought the Jetsons. I mean, I saw them,
Yeah.
Mr. Spacely zoom into Jetson and say, Jetson, hey.
1964, the AT&T started the picture phone, which had a cross-country call to Disneyland, and then picture phone rooms opened up in New York, Washington, and Chicago. Kind of dwindled, but, it didn't really start back up until Apple released FaceTime and Cisco did what they did, video conferencing.
Yeah.
But
it caught on, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I really don't think it is. But we'll have more about this on our blog at arbitragetrade.com/blog. More after this.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Caroline Hollis is here with us, and she recently had a run-in with something called poison sumac. Caroline, I was a Boy Scout, so I remember the phrase, leaves of 3, let it be, leaves of 5, let it thrive. You didn't even notice that you had this, right?
No, we've lived in our house for 13 years, and I was doing yard work. I mean, maybe it's new to our house, maybe it hadn't been there before, but I found it. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Well,
it's kind of one of those things where you go, there's a couple of things here. There's Barry's White, Running Flight, Harry Vine, No Friend of Mine. The leaves of 3 phrase, at least, refers to poison ivy and poison oak. It's a leaf with 3 leaflets grouped together, and they're glossy green, and then they turn to a yellow and deep red in the fall. And they also have mid veins, and they divide each leaflet into equal sides. Now I have seen poison ivy, and it makes people itch.
Well, and
that's the thing, right?
I knew to kind of look for the leaves of 3, leave them be. I'd never really seen any around, but I'd kind of heard that phrase before. But the poison sumac plant was different. It can grow more as a tree or a shrub, and it does not have leaves of 3. I believe it could be anywhere from either 5 or 7 to up to 9 maybe leaves together. The ones that I think I came in contact with had the white berries. I had not heard, I was not a Boy Scout, so I did not know the white berries part. So I didn't know that there was anything I should be even watching out for around that area in the yard.
So what's the binding factor with all of these? What's the oil or what are you touching there?
So that there is an oil. It's the same oil in all 3, and the rashes and the treatments are going to look the same, whether it's poison ivy, poison oak, or poison sumac, as I learned from my doctor when I went to see what was going on. And the oil, it doesn't take very much at all, about the size of a grain of salt. That's all that it takes, very, very little. And you can get it just by a slight brush of the leaves or of the vine.
Contact dermatitis, right?
Yep, that's what I got written up for.
There you go. Up to 90% of people who come in contact with the oil will develop the rash, but there are 10% that are not sensitive to the oil. Apparently, you can become sensitive to the oil if you haven't been.
That's what I think might have happened to me, because these bushes that I'm pretty sure were the sumac that had the white berries on them, I've cut those down in our backyard, our little overgrown section of the backyard. I've cut those down for years and never had a problem. So I think my guess is that I'm one of those people who later in life has become sensitive to it.
Well, learn what these plants look like so that you can avoid them. But if you can't avoid them, Caroline, what do people do?
So you can use a targeted weed control like a Roundup and spray it just on those. If it's a vine, you can trim it as close to the ground as possible. One thing, I never would have thought to do this because I'm scared of fire, but do not try to burn them, because the oil can actually aerosolize and can actually cause problems in your lungs and nasal passages. So that was something I learned. I didn't know that was something I needed to be worried about.
That would be fun.
Right?
Don't try to scratch it, but see your doctor as soon as you can. More after this on Arbitrage News. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you, Josh.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local. I can send you with a link.
Okay, smart.
protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We talked a lot about Disney and a lot about the inner workings of Disney because it's fascinating business-wise. Not really getting to the politics of it, but unfortunately we've been thrust into the politics of it because Ron DeSantis has taken over the governing body that governs Disney World. And now some people have said that Ron DeSantis has followed the autocratic examples of governments in Russia and China.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Well, as far as his takeover of Walt Disney World's governing district, they say it's severely damaging to the political, social, and economic fabric of the state.
Why? Everyone's happy.
Not everyone.
Come on, Mishka, Mushka, Mauska, let's go.
So basically, it's an interesting thing that they've done with this. They've released what's called a friend of the court brief. And this is a brief that's attached to the federal lawsuit against DeSantis that Disney has filed. And basically, it's just this group of people saying, hey, we just don't like the way this is going, and it seems like it's damaging to our state.
A Florida man. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Florida people here. They filed the brief, and basically some of the wording says that how the path the governor has chosen is corrosive to the form of democracy envisioned by the Constitution, and to reemphasize the court's critical constitutional role in curbing the excesses of governance by retaliation. Basically, what they're saying is, DeSantis basically retaliated against Disney World because of some of the views that Disney World has put out there. The fact that they are supportive of gay agenda and LGBTQ, and we're not here to agree or disagree with that.
The question is, why does that come into play at all? I'm like, they have their policy. It's on their private property. The rest of the state has whatever it's going to do. Why are we arguing about this?
That's exactly the point. And the thing is that we have kind of been following this as far as that's concerned. And the thing is that DeSantis kind of slapped Disney on the wrist and took the amazingly retaliatory step of going, hey, we're going to take over your governing body that was established back in the 70s to run basically Walt Disney World and to interface with the state.
I think that Disney's a little bit too big for Florida, and it's basically taking over Florida. I heard that they scrapped the plan to do a $1 billion campus in Orlando.
Yep.
Basically it's like, hey, that's $1 billion you don't get.
And basically
you want to play?
It harms Florida economically because firms are being kind of dissuaded from doing business because it would be subject to the governor's retaliatory whims, if they ever voiced disapproval of his policies.
That's a sad thing.
Yeah.
But hey, there's room for Disney in Memphis.
There we go. Take over the pyramid, maybe?
No, we still need Bass Pro 2.
More after this.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Here with David Grantham, our tech guru, today as we talk about keyboard password pirates. David, what's going on here?
Yeah, so basically it's something called a side channel attack, and basically you can use a phone or another recording device to record keystrokes on the keyboard, and by the tone of the keys, apparently you can use artificial intelligence to classify what key you were striking. So you can basically figure out how you can get their password by just recording the keystrokes, and that's creepy.
That's kind of insane, really. I mean, if you think about it, you know, everybody has a different keyboard, has a different, you know, I mean, different ways of typing and things like that. How is this accomplished? What goes into figuring out these passwords?
Well, basically they have a model trained on the audio, and it has an efficiency of 95%. So it's like, hey, so that's recorded by a nearby phone. Now, what's even creepier is that same model they can use, the AI model, they can use the recording of your keystrokes over a Zoom and still have a 93% accuracy. So that's just, it's like, hey, you know, use the mute button, I guess.
That's insane. That's just insane. And, you know, we have things now where you have to cover your camera on your laptop, and you have to do these things to protect yourself. How do you protect yourself from a side channel attack?
You know, I was thinking about this, you know, when we were talking about this earlier. I was like, you know, when you look at the spy movies where they put the phone by the fan, or they add white noise, you know, that's probably what they're going to start recommending, is you add different types of white noise to your audio just to prevent these types of side channel attacks.
So what we would do is have a white noise machine or something like that with us, around us, to try to defeat that. And that's wild, though. That is wild.
You wouldn't have thought that would be something you had to worry about, but you know, one of the things they referenced, though, was how they were able to use a similar acoustic attack on hard drives and figure out what you're writing to your hard drive.
Okay, now that's ridiculous. Seriously.
Well, that's a proven thing. It's just a lot less accurate. But what they basically use a very similar technique to the hard drive, you know, acoustic detection, and they apply it to the keystrokes, and they're like, man, this is way more accurate, and it's a lot less information to try to interpret. So, I mean, it makes sense.
I'm blown away by that. Absolutely. So, we will keep an eye on this article on arbitragetrade.com/blog. Make sure you go to that. Thanks, David.
Oh, thanks, Josh.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I was part of GameStop back when the meme stock revolution happened.
Let's all get rich.
Pushed GameStop up to $123 a share.
Yeah, not
I
bad.
believe it was.
Not
And
bad
they're
for a weekend.
Yeah, I haven't checked them lately, but I believe they're back down to around 25? Is that right? 20?
Hey, hopefully people did not think it was going to the moon.
$20 is what they're at today.
Did they split or did they just decline? Or do
I
you
think
know?
they just declined, man.
Well, it happens. It happens. But if you can ride the ride, ride the ride.
Yeah, but the point of the meme stocks was to kind of go against the norm and just kind of push up a certain business that, and it was emotional. If I remember correctly, I mean the Reddit and going into Reddit and seeing the rallies for GameStop and seeing what was going on there pushed them up to $123 a share, and now they're back down to $20. Well, a new class of meme stocks has sprung up during this stock market's surprise recent rally, and it's weak companies on the verge of falling. Of course, AMC Entertainment made a little bit off of that as well.
Absolutely.
Now, Royce, we have Yellow Trucking, which pushed Yellow stock from 71 cents to more than $3.50. And they filed a Chapter 11 on Sunday. So,
oh, no.
Yeah.
So it was too little too late?
I don't know. I mean, once you have that ball rolling, I guess you can't stop it. But
sure you can.
Tupperware,
gotta have enough motivation.
Yep. Tupperware as well. Tupperware warned investors earlier this year that it was having trouble staying afloat, might be delisted, and they went from 74 cents in early July to around $5.23. So
I'm not sure if you remember when Twinkie said, "Hey, we're going out of business."
Yeah.
And the U.S. government stepped in and said, "No, you're a staple of America. You will be here."
America. But yeah, I mean, we see.
Come on, it's Tupperware,
right?
It cannot go anywhere,
right? I mean, everybody's got a bit of Tupperware somewhere, right?
For sure.
It's pretty amazing. The recent rallies that we've had, we're looking at a lot of things. Bed Bath & Beyond was also part of the meme craze, but unfortunately it ended up in bankruptcy. And we look at Rite Aid, which was also a part of that.
Oh, wow. Wait, I thought someone bought Rite Aid.
I think Walgreens Corporation bought Rite Aid.
Okay.
I could
was like
be wrong
CSV,
about that.
Rite Aid,
CVS.
Yeah. I play with spreadsheets far too often.
Yes. CSV.
Right.
But we shall see how this goes, because the power of the people has been shown, to cause some serious movement in these.
That's how we became a democracy. The people stood up and said, "Yeah, no, this is the way we wanted to go."
There we go. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, Royce. Have a good one.
You too.
Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC is a privately held research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the contents of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to function as investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC,